This clip's brought to you by ServiceNow. AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built on. With the ServiceNow AI platform, your AI, data, and workflows all work together, connecting every corner of your business. To see how you can put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com/AI-agents.
How do you balance this relationship, which seems to be so weird in tennis, where you're the coach, you're the authority figure, you're calling him Applebee's boy, you're setting the standard, and you're also an employee? He hired you. It's a very strange dynamic. How did you handle that in general?
Well, I mean, that's why it takes me a long time to commit to somebody. Okay. I'm not a Lego piece. I'm not a guy that say, hey, I want you to come in here, talk a few words, boom, and you're good. Okay. And you're going to improve immediately. It's always a work in progress. It's always pushing to get a little bit. If you're not number one, dude, you got some work to do. Okay. That's just basically how it works. And I don't care how much money you have in the bank. So it takes a long time for me, to commit to somebody. Like, I didn't know Andy at all, but I remember old Kenny Meyerson calling me up and said, Larry, you're on the list. You're in the top 5 on the list. I said, hey, Kenny, lose my fucking number. I have a job. I said, tell me when I am the list. And I hung up. And Kenny goes back.
Tell me when I am the list.
When I am, I did exactly. And I hung up. I said, I coach one of your other clients. Stop calling me. I said, when I'm the list, give me a call, because that would interest me. Okay. But Kenny started laughing and hung up. And Kenny goes, oh, Larry, I'm the elder statesman on the tour. Dude, I turned pro in 79. You came in 1980 with Donald Bell. Don't give me this, I'm the elder statesman. And then he started laughing. Oh, you know the dates. I said, yeah, I know the dates. So shut up. Okay. And call me when you're serious. Okay. And I don't want to know about the other guys. Okay. The other 4 that you have on that list. I don't care. So that kind of a thing. So when Andy kind of jumped on board, I was nervous. I mean, I didn't know really, but I knew, he was very, very competitive. He didn't like to lose. He was like Johnny Mac mentality of, Larry, okay, early on, he says to me, you're going to probably have an ulcer, because I'm going to be down a set and a break. And we're going to get into this war. And I'm going to grease this guy out in the second set. And then he's going to get tired, and I'm going to get him in the third. And John, it happened so many times. It was like I'd sit back there and I knew the guy. He would just fight, scrap, and there's something to that about tennis that is really appealing to me. And sometimes you got to win, during the dirty work. I think it happens. It all transpires in the practice sessions when you don't make mistakes. And so when you talk about I'm an employee, I am, but I'm a truth teller. Okay. And I have been relieved of duty, and I've walked away from duty. Like Kafelnikov, I left on my own. Henman, it didn't work out too well near the end. And after 3 years, I never felt like I worried about being relieved of duty. If we're not heading in the right direction, John, I said, here, I'm done. I'm done with this, because I can work with a lot of different people, but it takes me a long time to commit to somebody. And like Andy says, sometimes the hard work scares people, but this game is such an individual game that you've got to put it in the hard mile. If you're not willing to put it in the hard mile, nothing's going to change, because a few words from me, okay, it'll give you a little pump up. Yeah, you're great. Let's go. That's fine and dandy. Okay. Everyone needs that. But it's all transpires in the practice sessions, and it has to be, this game is a repetitive game. It's a continuous continuity game. It has to be the same. And people go, what are we going to do today? Can we change it up a little bit? No, there's no change ups. No, we keep doing the same thing over until you can hit 50 backhand cross courts or whatever it is and change directions. Controlling the ball flight is what I'm really into. And it has the difference of risk reward. Andy and I talk about it all the time. Larry, this is going to be a grind point. And he'd say that in the middle of a match. I said, you got that right. Okay, this guy's got to hit a winner on this point. Okay, if it's 4-3 in the third, 15-30. And I said, I don't care if he hits a winner. You make this guy hit a winner on this point, because you get sphincteritis. I mean, people get nervous. You're not playing a machine, okay? And you get errors, okay? So you do these things, and as a coach, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for guys that are not scared to really put it on the line and not say, oh, I'm going to go for the flashy winner up the line because I'm stretched out a little bit. I said, what kind of shot was that? You had no shot there, okay? And you pointed out Rios was a perfect example. Okay, I mean, you coach certain individuals. Most talented guy besides Johnny Mac I ever coached in my life. He came out of the box with a gift, but his brain worked like Monfils. Okay, he's like creative arts. Okay, he's like a juggler. Okay, I'm gonna throw hit a shot. I'm gonna throw a drop shot off the top of the tape at a 4-all deuce. You know, you're kind of going, okay, dude. After 8 months of doing that shot, you have no shot. You got no shot. And his dad said, "Why is he stuck at 20?" I said, "For 8 months." I said, he's stuck at 20 because he's a circus act. Okay, he doesn't play the stock shot at the biggest moments, and he has every shot in the book. He's got to get rid of 18 of the 20 shots rolling around in his head.
Do you think there's like, because I'm obsessed with the kind of premise, and that's why I think like people like Roger and Alcaraz are so fascinating to me, because they have every shot, but yet they still know how to manage those options, right? Like it's not like I was limited with what I could do, especially when we got together. Like the part that like we never talk about is I had half a forehand when Larry and I got together because
that's right.
My shoulder, I couldn't hit a flat forehand anymore.
Gone.
Yeah, it was done. So like, so we were limited.
He masqueraded like it was fine, but we all knew that it was gone.
Yeah, I mean, it was gone. It was. I mean, I wasn't gonna start a marketing campaign around it, but it was. But so what we had to do was, the work was hard, because I had to like learn the footwork and learn the pacing, and I had to learn all of these things. But it wasn't as if I went into a match and passed serve. It's like, you know what? I have 17 options on how I'm going to do this. Like, it's like, okay, let's make it as difficult as possible, and let's leverage your strong parts. But Rios is interesting because he probably had the options of an Alcaraz or a Federer, but like he wasn't able to have the discipline to put them into play, not only for weeks upon end, but then, you look at the superheroes of our sport, they're able to do it for 15 or 20 years at a time. And so talk about like the discipline with, you saw it with trying, and you got Rios to number 1, and for that you got fired.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. But the other direction.
Yeah. But talk about kind of trying to, I want to try to use the right word, but like, manage talent and manage options and kind of keep those talents in a certain lane, in like Alcaraz and Fed make that look easy when it's really not. That interplay between talent, options, and what you should do.
That's right. I mean, when you get someone as gifted as those 3 individuals, the Federer, Alcaraz, the Rioses, Mac just had a gear. I mean, of competitiveness like Andy, but the gifts of an artist. Okay. And, he had one grip and he turned it down and he hit it this way. And then he had the same grip and shoveled it this way and never missed balls. Okay. And hit the ball in the middle every time. He said, "Larry, I hit it in the middle every single time." I said, "I don't know what you're talking about, these other quadrants. I don't hit it up there. I hit it in the middle." And I said, "Oh, geez. Okay. Now we're talking a whole different." That was a little bit like Roger. Alcaraz. I mean, the thing is about those 3 individuals that, even like Roger, I feel like Roger, you have to let them have structure, but still be free to be able to play that free type of a game without restraining their creativeness.
That sounds easy when you say it, but that's a brutal
it's
line.
Very difficult.
Yeah,
it's very, very difficult. I remember when Roger, didn't win a tournament for like a year. He was with Anacone. Okay, and that was when the big forehands. That was, the Roddicks, the Gonzalez, Zabaleta, Kanyes, Sampras are still around. Everyone's going for big forehands. So Roger says, "Okay, I'm going to have the biggest forehand in the game." I'm thinking, what's he doing? This guy plays that defense better than any guy that maybe ever played the game.
Correct.
And he's trying to take every first or second ball and going for winners on the forehand, because Gonzo's forehand was he was out forehand. Okay, and so it would piss him off. So it's a little bit of like he got pissed off with his ego, I think, and said, "Okay, I'm going to have the biggest forehand, and I'm going to show you guys." And he went. It didn't base for his talent, because Roger was a phenomenal server. He's the most underrated server in the game of all time. I think.
Well,
People don't even realize how
we talked about this we had like our best servers of all time list, and I think there's people that just serve really well, like Isner and Karlovic, and they're 7 feet tall. But there's also like, we went through basically the premise where it's like people who pitch a good ball game, right? You could give me Roger's physicality on a serve, and I wouldn't be nearly as effective because he knows how to set up the other arsenal. He's Greg Maddux, Right. He's not Randy Johnson. He's Greg Maddux.
And I agree with you 100%. Nastasi was the same way. You don't remember him before your time. But no, he was a phenomenal. He got the one in the world. He was a phenomenal server. And he played real free. I call it Denny's flapjack, like Roger. He could flip balls around and hit corners and make it look like, what's going on here? You know? And Rios could do the same thing. Rios would start laughing at people he'd be 30 feet behind the baseline and hit short box 3 feet from the net. I said, it's the luckiest shot I've ever seen. In Monte Carlo, he did this. He goes, these Spanish guys suck. Okay, Correia sucks. Moya sucks. He beat these guys 2-2, 2-1. I'm going, are you serious? And he would make these acute angles that were just, I said, I don't even see that angle. Okay, so they're born with these gifts. But like you said, you don't want to strangle the talent out of these guys so that they can play free, you know, and even Mac. You know, same thing. He saw the court differently. He played so much differently. I like guys, though, that take the ball early, that see it before it almost gets there. Mac used to say, I see it. He only has two options. If I go there, he only has two options.
Mac's a joke. So it's funny because we had this best backhands list also. And my whole thing is like, you know, Fernando could, like the example I used was like Gonzalez hits it harder than anyone, maybe outside of Del Potro, but he doesn't return like everyone else on the forehand side, and he doesn't play defense off the forehand side. So like it's a complete shot, and like the fact that Mac's backhand, and I want you to expand on this, never gets put on like the greatest backhands of all time list is fucking insane. He has the ability to basically suck your time away because of his positioning, float a ball, and it lands 6 inches softly, and you feel like you're set, and then all of a sudden you hit a pass, and he's hitting a drop volley, and you're 20 feet from it, but it's not as if he punched you in the mouth. It's like he threw a 3-shot combo before you knew the first one was thrown. Like his backhand has to be one of the best of all time.
I agree. 1984, 1985. I mean, dude, he took it right off the bounce.
It's a joke.
I mean, okay, he choked,
and could flight
the
it
way
differently.
He choked against Linda. No, and he took it, and it was so technically sound. People, oh, no one can do that. I said, no. It was the most efficient redirect shot off the backhand side maybe ever, because that's what we're talking about. Taking speed that's going 110 miles an hour, 103 miles an hour, and redirecting it short angle cross court. Rios could do that. He could take a hard ball and redirect with a soft ball, or take a slow ball and whack at 100 miles an hour. Mac didn't really have that ability. But when you talk about redirecting the backhand, especially off the return of serve and coming to net, and that's what he used to say, I knew what this guy had, what his options were. And so in his mind, he was always, like you said, a shot ahead. It was like a chess game. He knew two moves. If I make this move, I know that he has these other two options, and I'm covering him, and I'm going to give him. And that's why we talk about risk reward and where to go on the court. That takes a lot of years, but that was kind of innate for Mac, and he killed you not with speed, but with location. He was even his serve. His serve wasn't hard. He just would go this way, that way, and body. He didn't like the body as much.
Like I only play Mac when I started playing him in all these like has-been events, and even now, you can't tell where he's going on a serve until the last second. Like he gets you into the same position, and he either goes this way or he's able to shove it off, but you can't see it. Still,
no,
you still can't see it.
No, and he's so close to the target. Okay, he started doing that right before he got to the semis of Wimbledon. You know, when he was still a junior. Okay, and that kind of and so what he could do with ball control, and I'm a big believer in ball control. Okay, it's just not slam, 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 slam. You know, as Emma would say, World War III every shot. Okay, and it's like we talk about this in these clinics that we do with Roy Emerson. He said, "I can't watch it, Larry. It's just unwatchable because no one feathers the ball anymore."
Well,
Alcaraz does.
I did a long form interview with Rafa last year, right? And we kind of went through the Fed of things and the Novak of things, and the thing he said, and it was great because he had retired, so this was kind of like his first interview where, like, I find when people retire, there's no fucks given anymore, and so they're not giving away their secrets, and it's way better. And he did, so the one thing he said, he goes, Novak, he goes, ball control. He goes, so you say nobody can do that anymore. I think Novak might be the best of all time at taking pace, redirecting, injecting pace into the backhand, taking pace off of it, but still having that kind of floaty backhand that lands through the middle that you can't really do much with. Novak I think he took a lot of
6
what
inches
you're
from the baseline.
Totally. I think he took a lot of that old school thing that you're talking about with Mac's ability to float it and put you in positions, and kind of has that new school twist where I'm also 6'3", can inject power and can get in and out of the corners and move like a modern day tennis player. I actually think Novak, his biggest differentiator is switching directions and ball control.
I agree. And it with not much spin.
Yeah, it comes in kind of sideways.
It's 8 inches from the baseline. And like you try to help like young players, juniors, you're saying depth is the key to everything. Okay. And do you know that if you feather a ball deep, it gives you a chance to recover into the center of the court. It gives you time to work back into the point because no one comes to net. Why do you? Because they hit it hard, you hit it harder. You hit it hard, you hit it harder. Okay, what's that all about? No, to redirect and take speed off. That's why Mac was so gifted. That's why, I just like that, and Roger was a king of that. And like Novak, same thing. I mean, and he didn't wound you with winners.
I think as the game has progressed, though, you now need the ability, and we're seeing this with Alcaraz. I think he's taken this thing where it's like, I have this ability to float the ball when I need to. I can deflate pressure to buy myself time. But then I think now in tennis in 2026, you also have to have the ability to rip someone's face off. Right. Like, so now you kind of have you have to have the best of both worlds where, you need that ball control with Mac, but then you also need the ability to inject pace like Andre. And I think the guys who have combined those two things, because people talk about Alcaraz and it's like, oh, well, he just flashy and he rips the ball. I'm like, no. I go, no. Like the threat of him being able to do that is what makes the other stuff so good, and vice versa, right? His drop shot is the thing that sets up the knockout punch, right? Those things working in tandem, I think, is kind of the new age of tennis. The guys that can take the stuff that worked for McEnroe and then also add in, the best practices of an Andre type player.